Um, it says evolved earth something. I don't know.
Evolved Earth Angel. Okay, an evolved Earth Angel. What name do you want to go by?
You can call me Angel.
Angel,
Oh,
okay,
nice.
Angel. We love it. That's good. We've got
I'm
Anujama from Pickering, that's east of Toronto. Near we've got in Ottawa, we've got Alex, which is great. And who else do we have here? You can introduce yourself. Okay, yeah. I've got my companion here.
Prabhu and Mother.
Angkor, Angkor and Encore. Encore has been with us before. Okay, and we've got Santo Domingo, Hari Krishna Bhagavat. Are you from South America, maybe, or Haribo? Can you hear me? Unmute, maybe. Okay, we've got Radha Vallabha, and we've got Arjuna looking like Mr. Cool today. All right, good. So I guess
this is my cousin from Dominican Republic.
oh,
I think he knows a lot about Zoom. Yeah.
oh, nice, nice. Thank you very much. So what we're all going to do, Angel and others that are not so familiar, we're just going to do some mantras in honor of Prabhupada. Angel, where are you from, by the way? Apart from heaven.
Yes, indeed. You got it right. I am from New York.
From where?
New York City. New York City.
I didn't get it.
New York City.
Yes.
New York City.
Yes.
You mean from this place?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's nice to have somebody from New York. We're going to chant the two mantras in honor of Prabhupada. Then we're going to chant the Panchatattva mantra. We're doing this all together. Then the Hare Krishna mantra. Then we're going to flip over. We're going to go to page 1 of the introduction of Bhagavad Gita as it is. So you Prabhus can get ready for all of that. Okay. So we'll start and recite these mantras together. It won't take too long. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminita Namane Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Acharine Nirvishti Shashivani Vastyata Deshatayane Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Great. Now we'll go to page 1, the introduction from Bhagavad Gita, and we'll just go to the top verse. I think the screen will be shared by Vaishnavi, our host. So line by line, Om Jnana Timarandasya
Om Jnana Timarandasya
Jnananjana Shalakaya
Jnananjana Shalakaya
Chakshurun Militanyena
Chakshurunmilitam
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha.
And for the translation, I was born in the darkest ignorance.
I was born in the darkness of ignorance,
And my spiritual master opened my eyes.
And my
spiritual master opened my eyes
The torch of knowledge.
with the torch of knowledge.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto him.
unto him.
Thank you very much. Now we'll ask our host, Vaishnavi, where we left off from last week when I was at the airport. I don't want to remind you, Prabhu.
Chapter 16. We are still in verse 1 through 3. We have to start with the charity.
Charity. Okay. Do you want to be a little more specific? Give us the page number and also which paragraph.
Okay. This is the one next to Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti. Well, I don't have a page number because I'm using Vedabase.
618. Okay, it's on page 618 for those who have normal ways of doing things.
7.
Okay. And so it is, I am just going to take the liberty to read verse 1 to 3. Let's look at that first, okay? These are good reminders. And this is Krishna speaking, by the way, verse 1 to 3. You can kind of follow along. The Supreme Personality of God had said, fearlessness, purification of one's existence, cultivation of spiritual knowledge, charity, self-control, performance of sacrifice, study of the Vedas, austerity, simplicity, nonviolence, truthfulness, freedom from anger, renunciation, tranquility, aversion to fault-finding, compassion for all living entities, freedom from covetousness, gentleness, modesty, steady determination, vigor, forgiveness, fortitude, cleanliness, and freedom from envy and from the passion for honor. These transcendental qualities, O son of Bharat, belong to godly people endowed with divine nature. Okay, so we're going to go now to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The 7th paragraph. It's on page 618. And we'll just get people to start reading. Now, since we have a list of a lot of items, we may just approach this verse a little differently. Somebody can just read this particular quality as Jnana Yoga Vastita, right? That's where we're at. So we can talk a little bit about that. Then we can talk about humility, the next one. So I'm going to cut the reader off short, okay, for this session this time. Okay, who would like to be the first person to open their mouth?
Anutama and Sweta, you go, please.
Okay. You want them to read together in unison, or is that
No,
what you have? We can try that for fun. On your mark, get set, go.
The next item is Jnana Yoga Vavasthiti, being engaged in the cultivation of knowledge. Sannyasi life is meant for distributing knowledge to the householders and others who have forgotten the real life of spiritual advancement. A sannyasi is supposed to beg from door to door for his livelihood, but this does not mean that he is a beggar.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's it's the spot right there. And we're just going to try to cover this for the time being. Okay, so Jnana Yoga Vyavastiti. I'm just seeing how that's translated exactly. Jnana linking up with the situation. Okay, so we're talking about cultivation of knowledge here. The key word is jnana, and jnana through getting wise, and then as a result, linking you up with yoga to the Supreme Absolute. And who monopolizes knowledge? Well, Brahmins do, and also sannyasis. Sannyasi is a full-fledged monk, somebody who's a material deadhead, not involved in materialism, if I can use that term. That's, if you wanted to find what is a sannyasi, it means a material deadhead. No interest in materialistic things, but has incredible interest in being an educator and distributing knowledge to the householders, and not just by words, not by just by dropping a few words of information about life, but also living it. Like when you see some people, you can tell by the way they dress, by their mannerisms, and the way they carry on, eating habits, and all those things. They're living through their wisdom. You know, they are like walking Bhagavatams. They're walking Bhagavad Gitas. Even the color gets close to matching, right? Do you see that purpose? Okay. Of course, I'm not a Maharaj, I'm a Miraj. Anyways, enough for the corny jokes. A sannyas is someone who's interested to see the world improve, for people to improve the quality of life, to not remain where they are and not get comfortable, but to actually advance, progress, and enhance their spirituality. That is what sannyasis do. And it's also a monopoly of the Brahmins or people who live, according to Shastra, according to piety, for instance. We need people like that. We need people to knock on your door. Don't forget about Krishna. I was, thinking about Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur in Nadia, in the district where they, especially where Nityananda grew up, and Haridas Thakur, they all come from the same general area. But they went door to door and they encouraged people to chant the mantras, the mantras which are favorable for winning the favor of Krishna. So I guess you can call them transcendental Jehovah's Witnesses. They go door to door and they share the wisdom. Now, how that translates in the ISKCON culture in our world is that we distribute books, and we point people into the direction of, where they can learn more. It's not just hard copies, but soft copies, right? We encourage that. We have on board Anuttama Prabhu, who's he's up in the top corner on my phone, and he's taken up the service across for the Zone 1 in North America, the task of encouraging people, our own devotees, towards distributing wisdom, knowledge. And he also participates fully in doing the distribution of hard and soft copies of this Vedic wisdom. So in terms of one of the 26 qualities of like a really good, polished person, talking about polishing, not Polish, polish, there's a difference, okay? Even though Polish people can be very polished. We're talking about people who are learned. They've done their studies and they have applied it as well. Most important. And I've thrown this phrase out to you, Prabhus, before, that Francis of Assisi, who was recognized all over the world as being a very advanced saint, he once said, preach. And if you have to, use some words. So do you know what we're saying here? We're saying act out piety, act out saintlyhood or saintliness, And if it helps people, then say some words of wisdom. But don't just talk about it, do it. Right. That's how people will be inspired. What about sannyas life? Are any of us going to get there? Maybe on this block here, those of us who joined us, maybe nobody will, maybe one will, at best. And And I'm just not trying to discourage you all. That's the kind of ratio we've seen. But even though you don't take formal sannyas, we are required to take internal sannyas. Like if you are a grihasta, a married man or woman with children or without, you've got a business going on. Like I told one of my friends who has a Tesla car, and he said he's got himself a blog or something he called on Instagram as the Tesla monk. And I tried to tell him, well, if you are a monk, you won't own a Tesla car. I said, oh, I didn't know that. He wanted to know what really is a monk. And I told him somebody who's like a hermit or somebody who lives like this ultra simple life, not needing much, living on almost like kind of like bare bones and being happy at the same time. That's what a sannyasi is. Sannyasi is one who travels around. And the other day we went to a place near a Mohawk village, and it's a place called Crawford Lake. And they have these ancient stones there around the lake. They're naturally there. And they've got, many of them have green moss. So there's that saying, rolling stones collect no moss. So a sannyasi is like a rolling stone. Nothing to do with Mick Jagger, please, or with Keith Richards, Nothing to do with that. We're talking about a stone that stays in one place will collect moss. But if a stone rolls over, and there's a lot of exposure to the sun and so on like that, there will be no moss. So it is like that. If you're a real true blue sannyasi, it means that you are moving around, traveling around, kind of like hitting the kundalinis, hitting all the chakras. You're affecting people's lives positively. You're a traveler. So that's sannyas. So I just want to say something about that. You don't have to be a sannyasi to knock door to door. It can be anybody who tries to reach out and shares the wisdom, shares the life of higher consciousness. That's what a sannyasi does. So that's on our list of the three. It's the third quality out of the 26 of outstanding human beings. Does anybody have any questions? If you have any questions about the Rolling Stones, I don't know too much about them. I just like some of their old music. That's all. That's all I can say.
Maharaj?
Yes.
I want to briefly mention that Vaisheshika Prabhu mentioned that when we go and share wisdom, like book distribution, we're assisting Srila Prabhupada in his mission, and he's a sannyasi. So aren't we, when we go out, we're assisting the previous monks in distributing wisdom, because all the purports are based on all these monks.
Mm-hmm. Yes, that's true. You're supposed to carry the spirit of sannyas, which is one of renunciation. You are going out and you're representing them. And of course, everybody who's in our chain of disciplic succession, not that everyone was necessarily a sannyasi, but regardless, they carry the spirit of renunciation and renouncing materialistic things, but holding on to or embracing Krishna, especially at his lotus feet. So being sannyasi means you have to represent Krishna. You must demonstrate being close to God in what you say and what you do. So therefore, I'm disqualified. My corny jokes of today have not much to do with sannyas. But we're just trying to do a presentation here and just trying to fluff it up, the presentation a little bit. But yes, I think it's really great. Vaisheshika Prabhu, for people who are not aware of him, he's an outstanding devotee, and he travels around, he and his wife, almost like practically like sannyasis. They have really good sadhana, and he always emphasizes that. If you really want to help the world, to get to a better level, a higher standard of living, a standard of higher consciousness, then you have to display good sadhana. That comes in the form of chanting nice quality japa on your meditational beads. It can mean many other things. Reading is a big part of it, and acting it out on all levels. Put it into the world of action. You know, to be a real sannyasi means to take this wisdom, this jnana, and put it into the world of action by you demonstrating it personally and speaking about it. Those two things. Thank you. That was great. Someone else have any questions or comments? Vaishnavi, you can help me and recognize any lotus hands that appear.
Alex has his hands up.
Alex usually has something nice to say. Alex, please enlighten us.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My obeisance Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada. I don't know how helpful this will be, but I was just thinking about what you're talking about just now earlier when I was cleaning up the ashram in here. And I was trying to come up with a percentage in my mind. I was just like, preaching is X percentage what you do and X percentage what you say. What would you say, like, what would be the percentage of how much, like, what you say and what you do? Is it like 75% what you do and 25% what you say, or?
Well, I think most of us spend, out of 24 hours, we are more doers than speakers, right?
Mhm.
Unless if you have a full-time job distributing books, which might last for 8 hours, 9 to 5 kind of job. But most of us are caught up more in action throughout the day. And action doesn't always mean like physically being mobile. Like you can also spend time teaching and or reading. Percentage-wise, I just think it happens naturally that one acts it out more than one speaks about it. But they complement each other, nevertheless. And I would say this, if you are, say, like one of those lucky people who live in an ashram as a brahmachari or as a sannyasi, there's an obligation to deliver the goods with words. You know, you're in a position to do that, whereas most people who have some career occupation, they have to spend time on pounds and shillings, as Prabhupada put it, or dollars and cents, loonies and toonies. For those who are in Canada, loonies and toonies. If you're from the US and you don't know what I'm talking about, come on up and I'll visit. Come on, visit, and I'll show you a loony and a toonie. Okay, so listen. What we're just talking about, though, is that there's an obligation on the part of sannyasis and brahmacharis, that's both male and female, who are spending some time learning in an ashram. They have an obligation to go out and share the wisdom, you know, by words and by deeds. So you're occupied in a lot of sharing within. So I think it's very hard to put a numerical figure on it. But those people who have a little less time, they're not have less time and are absorbed in just getting a job, looking after the dutiful responsibility of family and so on. They may have less time. However, like in the workplace, if you're working at an office or at a construction site or at the farm, people are pretty foul-mouthed. That's one thing. And they loosely use 4-letter words that doesn't start with Ram, like with the Ram R. And, so you have a chance to just show by your behavior, your upbeatness, your optimism, your let's say I think those are the best words. And maybe even shying away from bad language, bad topics. I think that says a lot to people. Yeah. So, it's really depends on the situation. But the person who goes out and share this, I want to say, in regards to that, the more you share, the better you fare. The more you give, the more you really live. There's an incredible amount of joy and satisfaction that comes from sharing Krishna consciousness. And it's my experience that the happiest devotees are the ones that share Krishna consciousness a lot, either by word or by behavior. That is a fact. That is, I can see across the board. I've been at this for 5 decades. Maybe it doesn't show, but it's definitely a fact that the more you give out to people, the more you share, the more you feel good. And when you come back from all that sharing, you just feel wholesome, clean, like you went through, 1 million forest baths. Is that okay, Brew?
Yeah, Maharaj, I totally agree. It's the best. It's actually the best.
So you're
Like just-
very lucky. You're very lucky in the situation that you're in.
Yeah, just the feeling of like the other Friday evening, we have kirtan, and I'm just standing in the back, and I'm looking. There's a university student I met on campus, and she's sitting right there, and she's singing, and I just had this wave of gratitude just watching her there, experiencing kirtan for the first time. It's just the best,
Nice, beautiful, beautiful. Good. We've got Ananda Shesha who's got his right hand up.
Yeah, Haribol Maharaj. I just want to make a comment. I couldn't help notice that you use the word share instead of preach.
Yeah. Well, to me, the word preach is on the list of the dirty dozen. Okay. So some of you who have known me, that I have a list like, preach is out of the question. Don't talk about demons. That's another word. There's a bunch of them. And, sharing it's a lot more inviting, more comforting, and it's softer. Whereas preach means you take a stick and you beat a person over the head, and you listen to me, you non-believer, you atheist, you hoser, you rascal. You listen to me. You don't know anything, and I know everything. About surrender. So we don't want that kind of preaching. Is a sort of fanatical word. It's in the Fanatics Dictionary. Although Prabhupada used it, we understand that he's using some nomenclature that comes from the time of, Victorian ruled Britain. I'm sorry, India. Try to avoid that.
Yes,
God, she's from New York. Now, I would say probably if you talk to, understand you're probably sort of African American person, right? If you talk to Africa, it's fine. They're totally cool with it. It's totally, they're comfortable with it. But if you use the word God with some New Age folks or yogis or people who might actually be so-called, they consider themselves very educated and sophisticated, you may not use that word necessarily, but you can use nice words to replace them, such as the divine, the supreme, the universe. This you learn by traveling around and meeting different kinds of people. Yeah. What do you think, Anutama Prabhu? You're reaching out to people a lot.
I like
Can we
the
make
word.
a list of the dirty dozen sometime for you?
Sure. Yes, Maharaj. I would also say French Canadians also probably don't like that, religious connotation.
They don't like the word God.
Yeah, I mean, Bhakta Alex can speak more on this, but they're very
Well, I
resistant.
think the younger generation, you have to be a little more picky, But you speak to some old timers, they're okay with God. A lot of them also are into D. Yeah. Oh, God and G. With it, God and Dog. For a lot of people, Dog is God.
In California, you have to say Gaia, goddess. There is
Oh,
one time,
you have to say
Gaia,
God.
Gaia,
Okay.
the
Okay.
earth goddess. Because once when I first came to the US, I said, oh, we were talking about something, and I said, this shows that there is a God, there's God's handiwork or something like that. The whole, everybody around me was stunned. Then I realized somehow God is not to be used there. So later I found out that you should use Gaia.
Well, in relation to this jnana, this particular point about cultivating knowledge and distributing knowledge is that we have to be choosy about our words. You have to look at your audience, right? Which town are you in? Which group of people are you? Are you talking to children? Are you talking to people in the country, in the Midwest? You say God, goddess. They'll just throw the crucifix at you.
Well, God
yeah,
is just universal, Paramatma, and nothing more than that.
Should we use the word Paramatma? Would you like to do that?
I have explained it to some Jewish people more because they were interested in asking, they wanted to know, why do you worship Krishna? So
Oh, yeah.
this friend of ours was interested, so explained, about the universal soul and, individual souls and all. But not everybody wants to hear all that. And
I think it's really, thank you so much. It's really important for us to appreciate that there is very many different audiences now. If you take an airline like Emirates or something like that, they have, maybe sometimes as many as 8 to 10 to a dozen different flight attendants, all knowing different languages. So because you've got all different kinds of people now. So we have to be ready to adjust. We have to be a little, show agility in our words, flexibility. And then you'll be able to win friends, but really what wins friends over to higher conscious living is friendship and warmth. Be a friend to them. Just be kind of normal, if I can use that term. And just be like a nice person to others. And then they're willing to open up to anything you have to say.
right.
Yeah. Good. It's a good discussion we're going through. Anybody else have anything they want to comment on before we go to Jimmy, go ahead. Sure,
So I was talking to a very senior devotee friend of mine, and he said that when he was very young, he was preaching, distributing books, and one time somebody got really angry at him and said, like, we have nothing to eat. What do you mean vegetarian food? We have nothing to eat. So he said that when Prabhupada was here, that there used to be Govinda's restaurants so people can take the food. So like, it's like the whole package, how you act. Then it's also, like distributing the books. Everything is it's like the whole package, So he said that he went deliberately because he wasn't married back then. So he started selling samosas and asking for donations, and they did the Govinda. And then like people used to come and the temple used to be full. Me personally, I think that it makes total sense because I used to live in Krishna house, and people will always come. It's always ecstatic kirtans. It was like a perfect preaching center because it was always full. No matter what, there was always something going on in Krishna house. So like we had to try to get the Govindas or something that people can eat, because if they don't know what to eat, they will read the books, but they don't know.
2 functions, and sharing also sacred sound. We can narrow it down to 3, again, maybe 4 things. So what do we share? We share wisdom, we share sacred food, we share sacred sound, and we share ourselves. We give our love to people. Those four things. Good. Thank you very much, Arjun, for bringing this up. Why don't we go to humility now, okay? Something we all want. Or maybe you don't. Okay. But something that really helps you in the cultivation of spiritual life is humility. Okay, so can we get someone to read this, or was Sweta on the list, or?
Sure, Sweta, if she's available, otherwise Uday can go.
I think Uday can go. Shweta's gone.
Okay.
Hare Krishna.
Sweta's cultivating her knowledge right now.
She's going for a japa walk, so.
Okay.
Okay.
Uday,
Krishna.
go ahead.
Yes, Maharaj. Humility is also one of the qualifications of a transcendentally situated person. And out of sheer humility, the sannyasi goes from door to door, not exactly for the purpose of begging, but to see the householders and awaken them to Krishna consciousness. This is the duty of a sannyasi. If he is actually advanced and so ordered by his spiritual master, he should preach Krishna consciousness with logic and understanding. And if one is not so advanced, he should not accept the renounced order of life. But even if one has accepted the renounced order of life without sufficient knowledge, he should engage himself fully in hearing from a bona fide spiritual master to cultivate knowledge. A sannyasi, or one in renounced order of life, must be situated in fearlessness, sattva samsuddhi, purity, and Janana Yoga, knowledge.
Great. So Prabhupada rounds it up really nice by covering those three different qualities or qualifications. He also tends to stick to this thing, this concept of life of sannyasi, right? He's been talking everyone to bear in mind that it is not only for us to take, that takes a lot of humility to do that. But grihastas can also show humility in other ways. Earner or householder goes to eat, he might say, is there anybody out here, anybody in my vicinity that hasn't had something to eat? And if no one answers, then he'll eat. Otherwise, he'll wait till people around him have been fed, and then we'll go to eat. So one learns humility just through that practice. Can anybody here in this group tell me what's your favorite? Do you have a favorite line that will, let's say, demonstrate the quality of humility?
I'm sorry, what's the question?
I think I got it.
Can any of you give me a source, the Shastras or the scriptures, and say, is there a place where a verse that expresses humility very well, very appropriately?
I think I got it, Maharaj.
Okay, Arjun, you're on.
Be more humble than a blade of grass. That's what we trying to be.
Right.
And that's in the Chaitanya Charitamrita.
That's from Mahaprabhu's old words. Yeah, just taking a humble position. That's right. And being like, thinking oneself to be like the straw in the street, or like a blade of grass that everyone walks on. And, it's pretty amazing because you walk on the grass and the grass never goes, ouch, get off my back. But it takes a very humble position and says, walk on me again and again and again. All right, good. So shall we move on then to charity? We do have time here. Can we get someone to read about charity?
Yeah, Vasanta, can you read charity, and can you keep your camera on when you read?
Yeah, it's always nice to see everybody. I see a whole string of ghosts in front of me.
Vasanta. Arjuna, you could go.
Yeah, I can read it. Can you put it on the screen so I can read
Oh,
it?
sorry, yeah. I didn't. The next item is, oh yeah, the next item is charity. Charity is meant for the householders. The householder should earn a livelihood by an honorable means and spend 50% of their income to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. Thus, a householder should give in charity to institutional societies that are engaged in that way. Charity should be given to right receiver. There are
Thank you. That's good. We can
Hare
have someone
Krishna.
else to participate.
I guess I'll read it. There are different kinds of charity, as will be explained later on. Charity in the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance. Charity in the mode of goodness is recommended by the scriptures, but charity in the mode of passion and ignorance is not recommended because it is simply a waste of money. Charity should be given only to propagate Krishna consciousness all over the world. That is charity in the mode of goodness.
Oh, very good. Yeah. I think we've all met people on the street who say, hey, I just want to get a cup of coffee. Can you give me some change? Okay. And you know, he's lying through his teeth. In most cases, he's trying to stay hooked on drugs. And so not always. There are some genuine, say homeless people who do need real help. And we have to feel for them. Charity is a big part of devotional life. It brings out the best in people. Again, giving makes you feel the lightest, the brightest. Maybe all of you have had experience, but let us not be foolhardy here. Give charity that will truly benefit a person. If somebody's hungry, sure, we should help them. But if we want to, let's say, prolong their bad drug habits, why should we give such a person money or donate? Why? That's actually foolish, waste of money. Money is Lakshmi. She's a goddess. She's the consort, the wife of Narayan, God himself. So we shouldn't just throw her out, to the lions, so to speak, isn't it? When you think of it in those terms. Let's be wise in the way we spend our money for our charity. We have to be very discerning. There's a lot of charitable organizations. Some of them are very reputable and some are not. And a lot of people get a little tired. I give to this charity, I've given all my life, and I found out that only about 10% actually goes to the direct cause. The rest of it goes to, administration, fees and this and that, travel, and who knows, maybe even staying in 5-star hotels, So you want to, I think it's really nice and personal when you give in charity. You give to people people are honest, clear, wholesome, and you have this implicit faith in them. Yeah. We don't want to give money out to bad habits. And there's a lot of them out there. Okay, that's good. I think it's not a bad idea. Anybody else have any thoughts about that?
Anutama has his hands up.
Anutama, yes.
Maharaj, I had a question on this. So people come and ask for charity to my home from CAMH or like a university, but I'm always hesitant to give because I see ISKCON is there for the spiritual well-being of everyone, and it's not as wealthy as some of these hospitals and universities. So I think it's more worthy of that. So I often refuse, saying that I'm more catered towards other organizations. Is that fine or no?
That's definitely okay to do philanthropic work, if that's what your question is about. Prabhupada seems to suggest here that if you put funds towards endeavors that will help raise the consciousness of people, where people build up confidence in themselves and are able to help themselves better, that's the best way where to throw your money, right? You can go to a poor place and say, here's some clothes, and we'll give you some mashed potatoes. Okay. Oh, that's great. But what about if money was put towards educational programs? Here's how you grow potatoes. Here's some seeds, and here's how you grow potatoes. That's superior, right? So I think that behind offering, let's say, Lakshmi, there should be some intelligence behind it. You have to be a little bit discreet, right? So what do you say? What do you say about that? Don't you? It's very unnerving feeling when you give some coins to someone and they're likely gonna spend it in a bad place. It's not a good feeling. But maybe your pockets are a little heavy with coins, so oh yeah, okay, I might as well, and so you nonchalantly give in charity, but not with great insight. So better to help those institutions that will bring people closer to God or the divine or the supreme. Better to help people in those categories. Of course, no one's gonna, like money always helps, and you can always encourage people how to spend it. So don't spend it all in one place. That's a common line, right? Or I think I told you this before. The pandemic was just happening, and I was walking on Bloor Street here, and a woman, she came to me and said, "Do you have some change?" And I said, and I didn't have any change, so I was a bit weird. And then I went across the street, a few blocks later, came back down, and she was still asking people. And she asked one man, "Can you give me some change?" And I said, "Well, what's it for? If it's for essential, I'm going for pizza now. I'll buy you a pizza." And she didn't say it was for food. So I said, "I'm not giving you any money then. I'm not giving you any. I don't trust." That was the age of the essentials. If you're going to use it for real food, then I'll help you. Otherwise, forget it. Another time I was in Florida. I was in Orlando and I was walking. And I hooked up with this guy, Michael Brown, who worked for National Geographic. And we spent a whole day walking through the downtown of Orlando. And we didn't even consider Mickey Mouse and Donald Duck, Snow White and the whole gamut. But, he was trying to do a story. He was shooting, taking a lot of photographs of me in different locations. The assignment was, what does Orlando look like, the other side of Disney? So we went to we walked under the interstate highway, and we came to like the most foreboding neighborhoods. And, it was like, I was concerned for Michael because he had real expensive equipment, and all it takes is for one of those big guys to knock him out and then run away with the camera here. So anyways, one guy did come to us. He said, "Hey man, you got some change?" And then Michael said this. He said, "Well, listen, what I can do for you," said, "tell me what does he want, I'll buy it for you." Because he didn't trust the man enough to give him money. So he was kind of stunned, the beggar. And Michael said, "No, truly, I'll tell me what you want, I'll buy it for you." And the guy just like, no one ever said that to me before. Because I just turned out and walked in the other direction. So being charitable, like in our ISKCON movement, we don't have a tithing arrangement, but it's not a bad idea that you give a certain percentage to help advance Krishna consciousness. And maybe you have a favorite project in mind, and that whoever's on the receiving end, the recipient that represents ISKCON, should honor your request. Yeah. Okay, so if you bring people, if your money goes toward education and making people strong enough to be in a position where they can get their act together, help themselves, that's superior than taking, a care of, a one-shot deal. Oh, here's some French fries. Have a good time. And then they haven't learned anything. Okay, anybody else has some comments on this?
Can I say something, Maharaj?
Yeah, you can say something.
Okay, cool. So to me, the way I see it is the best thing you can do to people, to get to people, it will be Krishna consciousness, because it's a way to get out of this whole mess. Like you said, you give people fries, they will eat, and then when they get hungry, they're gonna ask again for more fries. So they didn't learn anything. The important thing is to give them Krishna, because Krishna will take him out of here. So why stay here suffering? And they don't understand that this is a place of misery. So there's no point, like you might be a millionaire or poor or whatever. At the end of the day, it leads to the same thing. You're not gonna be happy. So what's the point? Might as well give him something to do with Krishna. Like I'm sometimes in the road, and I see these homeless all the time. Yeah, I don't give him money. If I have a mango, I offer it. I ask him, do you want it? Like, are you gonna promise you're gonna eat it? Hope they eat it, or a bottle of water. And sometimes I have the kirtan on, like if I'm on a phone call or something, and they see, oh, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. They go, oh, Hare Ho. They say like that. Hare Hare. They go like that. So yeah.
Okay, sure. So I think you're saying that if you give to Krishna, then you automatically will get your French fries. But if you just go for French fries, you won't get Krishna. Isn't that, in simple terms, what you're saying?
I was saying the best gift of charity you can give to people will be Krishna consciousness. That's what I was saying.
Yeah, definitely. Well, then if you give Krishna consciousness, you give people confidence, and you give them the will to go out and help themselves. A lot of people don't have a will to improve their life. They're kind of happy in their tamagun mode of ignorance. Yeah, good. So thank you, Arjun, and thank all the devotees for contributing. If we're not able to say much this time around, then we appreciate your sitting and just listening and absorbing. Why don't we do some takeaways right now? Because we're at that hour. Takeaways means take and go away with it. All right. So the takeaway means just let's make reference to what we just talked about with the particular qualities. And if there's a nice little phrase, if you can say it in 4 words, that'd be the best. And we've gone through this before. So let's go for the takeaways. Vaishnavi, do you want to just identify the people?
Okay, I'll go how it is listed here in the participants. So Ananta Sesha Prabhu.
Prasadam distribution would be one of the better ways of charity.
Did you say prasadam?
Yeah, prasadam distribution would be one of the better charity.
Yes, it's definitely very good. That's a nice conclusion. Yeah, with the takeaways, we're basically looking for conclusions. And if you could narrow it down to 4 words, that'd be great. Great.
Okay, Anutama and then Arjuna.
Don't forget my companion here.
Internalizing sannyas.
What was that?
Internalizing sannyas.
Internalizing sannyas. Yeah, that's a message for everyone. Nice.
Arjuna.
Humility and charity with Krishna.
And charity with Krishna. Okay, bravo.
Alex.
Share for spiritual advancement.
Charity for spiritual advancement. Okay, great.
Jagadishwar. Jagadishwar.
Jagadishwar.
Radha Vallabha, he is joining, Radha Vallabha Prabhu is joining from Philippines, Maharaj. So,
Radha
Jagadish Prabhu.
Vallabha. Wow.
Jagadish Prabhu.
My take is humility.
Your takeaway is?
Humility.
That's only one word.
Well, humility is bring you to surrender and devotion.
Okay, can I make a suggestion? Let me be humble.
Yes.
Is that okay? All right.
Thank you,
Or
Maharaj.
how about from the Philippines, Radha Vallabha Das?
You are
you're-
muted. Can you please
you have to
unmute
unmute.
yourself?
Just unmute yourself, okay? Okay, maybe somebody can help and explain what you have to do.
Yeah, he did.
Okay,
Hare Krishna.
very well.
Thank you for having me here, dear Maharaj, and all the assembled devotees.
No
Very
problem.
lucky to be here. I've learned a lot in this session, and my takeaway will be the best charity is giving Krishna, and charity starts at our own self or our own family. So that's it, Maharaj.
Nice. Thank you so much for
And then charity.
participating. It means a lot to us. That's beautiful. Bravo. Thank you for joining our family here. You're always welcome. Anybody else?
Rasamrita.
Rasamrita? Let's go quickly with this, okay, Parus, because
Or
the Chagan have gone through.
the next one is Sant. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah. Yes, Rasamrita Prabhu.
Sorry, Honorable. Humility, charity with love.
Humility, charity with love. Yes, bravo. Nice. Next.
This Hari Krishna Bhagat from Santo Domingo.
Okay. Wow.
Or
We're going
Uday.
international.
Uday.
Okay. So realize before you share.
Realize before you share. Nice.
No,
That's what it's like.
I don't speak English.
Oh, okay.
I speak Spanish,
If you say in Spanish, it sounds even
English.
better.
I'm sorry. The class is very, very nice, the class.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Well, you said it totally from the heart, and therefore it is. We accept. Anybody else?
Vasanta.
Okay, go ahead. Go ahead. It's your job.
Giving money to people is just money, but if you spread Krishna consciousness, that is, giving them a lifetime of mental peace and everything else which comes from there, everything comes from that.
Yeah, but that was 1,000 words that you just gave us there.
Sorry. Hare Krishna.
Can you do it in 4 words? 4 words? Well, you think about someone else who didn't have a chance. How about you?
Charity should be in the mode of goodness.
Charity, mode of goodness. Great.
Sharing, humility, intelligence, and sadhana.
Charity, humility,
Intelligence and sadhana.
intelligence, sadhana. Okay, that's great. That was kind of tricky. Very well. Who else?
I think everyone is exhausted, but if somebody is missed, please go now.
Okay. Well, I think we've done really well.
Yeah, we have done.
I want to thank everybody for participating. Hope you got something out of this session. And, we'll see you all next week, I guess, right?
Yes, Maharaj. Thank you.
Bye. Hare
Thank you,
Krishna.
Maharaj.
Thank you. Hare
Hare
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhesha kripa sindhubhyo
Vanchakalpataruvyascha
patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo
कृपासिन्धुभ्यश्च
namaha.
पतितानां पावनेभ्यो
Namo
वैष्णवेभ्यो
Shivadaya
नमो नमः.
Krishna Bhutale Srimati Bhaktimarga Swami Bhagavat Gita.